We've got 2 points, and we're going to determine something called the distance between them and the midpoint. Now, just let me make something very clear. You do not need a diagram for this at all, okay? There's a couple of formulas, but you don't need a diagram. I am going to do a diagram just so you can see what's happening, okay? And you can understand what's going on here. So I won't do it in my usual blue, because when I write in blue, that usually means working you need to show. So you don't need to do this. It's just a visual representation so you can visualize it. So we've got 2 points, negative 2, 1. So where's that? Negative 2, 1. I guess that will be about here. Negative 2, 1. And 2, 5. So negative 2, 1 and 2, 5. That will be up here, I suppose. Okay, up in the first quadrant. Determine this. So do we know what the word determine means? As you get further and further into math, these words start coming up in math and science. Determine means figure out and show working. Determine the distance between them. So when I say the distance between them, what does that mean? That means this length. And we usually call it a little d. All right, that's that distance connecting the points, okay? How do we do it? Well, we have a formula. It's called the distance formula. Remember when we found the slope of a line? We called the 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2. We're going to do that again. x1, y1, x2, y2. The distance formula is, and I won't go into where it comes from this time, but it comes from Pythagoras' theorem, but I won't derive it. D equals, and it's kind of tricky, big square root, then you've got x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. Okay, pretty scary looking, right? But that's the distance formula. So let's do it here. So you just got to remember that it's x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, big square root sign, squares and a plus in the middle. So let's do it. Let's put it into this distance formula. Square it off, x2 minus x1. So we've got 2 minus, we've got to be careful here, 2 minus minus 2. Plus, and y2 minus y1, 5 minus 1. And a big square root symbol over the top. So be careful there with the minuses. We've got a double minus there. I'll do another step here. 2 minus minus 2 is 2 plus 2. I'll do this extra step here. Plus, and 5 minus 1 is 4 squared. So what do we get? Roots. 2 plus 2 is 4, so it's 4 squared plus 4 squared. That is going to be 16 plus 16, right? Which is root 32. Okay, so there it is. D is root 32, but no, this can simplify. To what root what? And since this is a distance, then it's actually going to be a length in units. You don't have to say units, all right? I just write that so you know that it's a length. That simplifies. You know what? I'll leave that as a comments exercise, okay? What does it simplify to? Okay, and you can even work that out in your calculator. Like, what is it as a decimal? Because if you see that, you probably can't imagine how long it is on a number line, right? Do the decimal and just have a look at it. It looks to me like it's maybe going to be, what's that? That distance there is 4. That's 5. I don't know, maybe 7 or 8. Who knows? 7 point something, 8 point something? Maybe put that in the comments as well. What's that simplified and what is it as a decimal? Put that in the comments. And moving on to B, we're going to do something called the midpoint formula. So we have these same 2 points, and we're going to find something called the midpoint of the 2 points. So first thing, what is a midpoint? A midpoint is, it's a point right in the middle of the two, okay? So the distance formula gives a distance. The midpoint formula gives another point. So where would that be, like right in the middle? I guess it'd be there. In the midpoint, we usually use a capital M. And how can I show on my diagram that that is the midpoint? I can do this. I can do like tick, 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 tick like that to show that that length is equal to that length, so M must be right in the middle. So that is what midpoint is, and it has a formula. So how do we find out what this missing point is? This is it. M equals, and I'm going to give a point, right? An x coordinate and a y coordinate. This is really easy to remember. The x coordinate is just the average of the two x values. How do you find an average? You add and you divide by 2. x1 plus x2 over 2. And what about the y's? You take the average of the y's. y1 plus y2 over 2. That's pretty easy to remember, isn't it? Okay, so that is the midpoint formula. Let's do it. So we're still going to x1, y1, x2, y2 still there. Well, let's do it. So x1 is minus 2, x2 is plus 2, so it's going to be minus 2 plus 2 over 2. And the y is 1 plus 5 over 2. And let's simplify. Minus 2 plus 2 is, 0. And 1 plus 5 is 6 over 2. There we go. So our midpoint is the point. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 6 over 2 is 3. The midpoint is 0, 3. Okay, and that's all you have to do. Let's have a look at our diagram. Does that look right? 0, 3. Oh, 0, so it's actually on the y-axis. So it's actually right on there, 0, 3. Midpoint is 0, 3. Okay, so yeah, it's on the y-axis and it's 3 up. Does that look right? 3 up? This is 1 up. This is 5 up. So yeah, 3 up is right in the middle. So there is our midpoint. And all you have to do is give coordinates. Remember, distance formula gives a length, so the answer is a number. Midpoint formula is a point. Okay, so you need an x and a y coordinate with brackets and a comma.